this madness in the name of your...
The long night is coming, and the dead come with it. No clan can stop them. The free folk can't stop them. The Night's Watch can't stop them, and all the Southern Kings can't stop them. Only together. All of us. And even then it may not be enough, but at least we'll give the fuckers a fight.
Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with some juice to get you through the long night. I was just thinking about that TikTok sound. Shit. Here we go again. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Direwolf City. And today we are going to be talking about the creepiest, most haunted castle in Westeros, the Nightfort.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you guys voted. You want to talk about the Nightfort. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I feel like it's the perfect topic because it's October and Halloween and things. Also, real quick before we get started, I wanted to tell you guys that when House of the Dragon comes out, we will be live streaming. Direwolf City will be live streaming right after the episode of House of the Dragon. So when it comes out and you get all your thoughts and stuff, we'll be here. We'll be here talking shit right after the episode. Also, we'll be covering more House of the Dragon content going forward. We'll still be doing our win stuff, but we're going to let you guys vote on topics, and we might throw House of the Dragon topics in there to talk about. So ultimately you guys get to decide. But today it's Westeros. We're at the Wall and we're at the Nightfort. So real quick, the Nightfort is the first castle that was ever built on the wall. The stairs to the Nightfort are carved right into the ice. That's creepy.
That sounds like it's not ADA compliant.
It's not. OSHA would riot. But when the Nightfort was built, that was the first castle, on the wall. And it's huge. It's the biggest one on the wall. And I kind of wonder, why the Night's Watch was like, hey, let's move along to Castle Black. Let's not even worry with the Nightfort. Why did they just abandon it? Why didn't they make that the home? Yes,
because that shit's mad haunted.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, you ever see that from Eddie Murphy when he's like, "Wow, what a lovely, beautiful home," and then you hear the ghost like, "Get out! Too bad we can't stay." That's exactly how I imagine it went with the Nightfort. They're like, "Yeah, no, I can't stay here. There's too many."
I'd imagine that they view it as cursed after a time. It kind of has Harrenhal feels to it, except Harrenhal is only about 300 years old. I'd imagine the Nightfort probably stuck around for as long before they figured out this place is not livable. It's not hospitable.
Mandy's.
There's lots of parallels between the Nightfort and Harrenhal too. There's a lot of death that happened inside. It's also the biggest castle in Westeros. It's the biggest castle on the wall. There's the Lord Commander and the Lord of Harrenhal were both very what's the word I'm looking for? Sure of themselves. Yeah, well, they were assholes too, but they were very sure of themselves. They were very cocky. And there's a lot of karmic feel to it. You think you can get away with this, but now your shit is fucked up for all of eternity. Your whole castle is tainted now. Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is in both scenarios. So you're saying the Night King did some shady shit and got the castle cursed, and Harren did tons of shady shit and got his castle cursed. But So we first get our first glimpse of the Nightfort in A Storm of Swords when Bran goes to the Nightfort. And last week, if you missed last week's episode, we talked about the Grand Northern Conspiracy, and we talked about how Wyman Manderly and the Rat Cook story really is this story just seems like it's just a little in the background kind of thing, but really that story played out big time in A Dance with Dragons. And there's a lot of stories like that when it comes to the Nightfort, and we were talking about which stories we could see playing out. So yeah, so I'm gonna actually pull up the story that I want to talk about first. And let me find it.
While you're finding that, just want to shout out some people in the chat. I see Jackie C is here tonight, Lord Corliss Whitefire, Jason Badran, Tanya Nyhouse, Derek Banks, our resident troublemaker, Edric Storm is in the building. We got Lord Crackhead 33.
Y'all be having some crazy
That's
names.
hilarious. Jess Brivtech. Hey, Jess. Oh my gosh, sorry guys. I'm a little tongue-tied.
I always love
today.
it when she shows up.
Me too. Count Balerion of House Tatters. Got a nice turnout. You guys also don't forget to hit that like button since you guys are all here. We only got 49 likes and there's 180 of y'all here.
Yeah, it so more people can see it and our family can grow. So here's the quote, guys. As the sun began to set, the shadows of the towers lengthened and the wind blew harder, sending gusts of dry dead leaves rattling through the yards. The gathering gloom put Bran in mind of another of old Nan's stories, the tale of the Night's King. He had been the 13th man to lead the Night's Watch, she said, a warrior who knew no fear. And that was the fault in him, she would add, for all men must know fear. A woman was his downfall, a woman glimpsed from atop the wall, with skin as white as the moon, and eyes like blue stars. Fearing nothing, he chased her and caught her and loved her, though her skin was cold as ice. And when he gave his seed to her, he gave his soul as well. He brought her back to the Nightfort and proclaimed her a queen and himself her king. And with strange sorceries, he bound his sworn brothers to his will. For 13 years they had ruled, Night's King and his corpse queen, till finally the Stark of Winterfell and Yorman of the Wildlings had joined to free the Watch from bondage. After his fall, when it was found he had been sacrificing to the others, all record of the Night King had been destroyed, his very name forbidden. Some say he was a Bolton, old Nan would always end. Some say a Magnar out of Skagos. Some say Umber, Flint, or Nori. Some would have you think he was a Woodfoot from them who ruled Bear Island before the Iron Man came. He never was. He was a Stark, the brother of the man who brought him down. She always pinched Bran on the nose, then he would never forget it. He was a Stark of Winterfell, and who can say? Mayhaps his name was Brandon. Mayhaps he slept in this very room.
Teacher Mandy has a question.
Yeah. What's wrong, Mandy? Yes.
I'm laughing because Ara is a pain in the ass. However, so we were going we just dived right into it. This is exactly what I wanted to talk about. Alicia, breathe, baby.
I looked over at the chat and it's like my eyes just zeroed in on it before anything else. And
Dead ass pussy. Yeah.
What? What did he say?
Edric put dead ass pussy.
Oh, speaking of, we have an episode of Preposterous coming out. We have Preposterous coming out. Carl.
Yeah.
That fucking segue.
How fitting.
Then
We
dead
need to
ass
stay
pussy.
on track and then we can plug at the end of the.
I'm just saying, but he said dead ass.
I'm
pussy.
sorry.
Okay.
Our Mandy, continue your thought, love.
So the reason my hand shot up so quick is because I had one of the same quotes written down in my notes. It was a comparison that I had made between not only Dany and Rhaegar and Stannis and Robert, and how that situation could very well play out very similarly, but also because there's a lot of opposites in A Song of Ice and Fire, and the opposites also seem to have a lot of similarities. And we have one of those with the Corpse Queen. We have her blue eyes and her cold skin, and when what does it say? When he gave his seed to her, he gave his soul. And now we have a pale skinned, red eyed, very warm bodied woman who is mirroring like the equal opposite of the Corpse Queen. And she says this about Stannis: the king's fires burn so low, I dare not draw any more off of him to make another son. She was stealing his soul when she stole, when she made
The window.
A little shadow baby.
when she made the shadow baby. And he is the blue-eyed king who casts no shadow. Now, we think that's because he gave his shadow to Melisandre, but we also hear people say that Melisandre is Stannis' shadow, that everywhere he goes, she's with him.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he's going to cast off his shadow. He's going to do something, probably sacrificing Theon to a heart tree, that's going to show him the power of ice. Now, his whole journey starts at the Seat of Fire in Dragonstone, and he has the power of fire with him in the form of Melisandre. Now, he lost a very important battle because of fire, the wildfire. And immediately he went to the ice. He goes up north to the wall. Something is going to happen, like I said, probably sacrificing Theon, in which he sees the power and the might of the ice in the north. And that killing Theon, sacrificing Theon to the heart tree, is going to kind of unify the north. But they're still not going to go south with him in the middle of fucking winter. Like, they don't roll like that.
Yeah.
So he's going to make his seat in the Nightfort for the time being. And I think within that time, he's going to see, like, everyone that pledges their allegiance to him, but they're not willing to actually do anything for him. And he's very much the kind of, like, if you don't, he's going to break before he bends. He's not going to, like, concede anything to the north. He's going to say, like, you're going to do this or there's going to be consequences, but they're not going to do it, and he can't punish the entire north. So I think he's going to become kind of like an evil force in the north of the Nightfort. The Nightfort is going to taint him. And I think he might even become like a leader of the others in some kind of way. I don't know how, but we have this parallel between a dream that Dany has where I'm just going to read the quote. That night she dreamed that she was Rhaegar, riding to the Trident, but she was mounted on a dragon, not a horse. When she saw the usurper's rebel host across the river, they were armored all in ice, but she bathed them in dragon fire, and they melted away like dew and turned the Trident into a torrent. Some small part of her knew that she was dreaming, but another part exalted. This is how it was meant to be. This other was a nightmare, and I have only now awakened. So if Dany is Rhaegar, he's on his horse, she's on her dragon, and Rhaegar's fighting Robert, she's fighting Stannis. The army of rebels would be the army of the others who melted when she hit them with dragon fire on the Trident.
Ooh, I like that.
See,
I
like that
definitely...
It's similar to this theory that I was going to, like, shout out this guy, or girl, Blapple Guidle from Reddit. It says Night Kings, a turn from fire to ice, the story of Stannis Baratheon. And I agree with a lot of that. And it's kind of similar to what you were saying. But yes, Stannis starts off at Dragonstone, this fiery castle, and everything is related to fire. Melisandre is related to fire, like a Night's Queen. And shout out to LML, because this is his theory that the Night's Queen is an icy version of Melisandre. And so I heard that on a stream I was on with LML like 3 years ago. And I believe that because George got these figures done.
The blue one.
Right. And he got Melisandre done in blue as well. So I feel like there is, like how Melisandre is for this great other thing, there is an icy version of that. So I agree with all that. But I also think, forgive me, Jon Snow fans, you're going to be mad at me. I think Jon Snow could be the Night's King figure in our story. Because he's undead. His soul is gone. If Melisandre is the one to resurrect him, it could be said that she took his soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, I feel like I've been like Team Melisandre switching over to Jon's camp like, for a while, but I do feel like before we like move past Stannis for a second, I do feel like the Nightfort is going to corrupt him, but in the sense of like to kind of combine where I'm going with both of this, Melisandre is going to kind of ditch him, I think, and be like, yeah, you're clearly not it. It's Jon. And in his desperation of like maybe like trying to use some type of magic is when we get that sacrifice of Shireen. And I think that's happening at the Nightfort, just because right now we know Othel Yarwick, if I'm not mistaken, is preparing the Nightfort for Selyse to go over there with Shireen and Mel and co. So
and Jon's all like advising against it, like it's a ruined castle, bitch.
You shouldn't go there.
You shouldn't go.
And I just feel like because we know like in that tale of the Night's King, he sacrifices like his children to the other. So I could see maybe like him using Shireen as a form of sacrifice.
Yeah.
To the great, well, maybe not the great other, some power beyond.
I think you're right. I think it is a great other though that they, like because Craster, it's the pale gods, the white ones. Alicia, and then Mandy.
I had a thought about, in relation to Mandy's theory about Stannis mirroring the Baratheon on the Trident and all that. And it's a little tinfoily, but I'm super okay with that. I'm very comfortable with myself. What if Stannis, like, I mean, we kind of agree when he will sacrifice Shireen, that'll basically be like this inadvertent mirroring, it's been a long day, to Craster sacrificing his sons. What if there is this great other, instead of turning him into a white that's just this like mindless shambling thing, what if he basically gets body snatched by like this more powerful other? Yeah, so he ends up leading this army along with the White Walkers to the Trident at the end of it. So I think it would kind of be this
like the great other
parallel. So I
body.
kind of think it would be this great like plus it would give Stannis a lot more, like, because I'm not a huge Stannis fan, but I've never felt satisfied with the idea of like, and then he dies up at the Nightfort and then his story ends.
Yeah,
like if he ends
Alicia,
up,
sorry.
yes
I want to go once you're done. Once you're done, I want to go.
Okay. mom. So if he ends up, like, because I do think that there is a correlation between when the others woke up and when Rhaegar died at the Trident at Robert Baratheon's hands. So if a Targaryen kills a Baratheon at the Trident, to basically, not saying the Baratheons have anything to do with it, but it's like this great parallel. So I think it would be a good end to Stannis, a lot more satisfying of an ending for Stannis if he like was this reanimated corpse that led the army of the dead and he meets his end. Like, it just, anyway, I'm rambling at this point. Go ahead, Aura.
Let me go before I lose my thought. So you got me like super excited when you said the thing about Stannis, like in the parallel. What if, so you know how Melisandre's like big thing was like, oh, Stannis is the prince that was promised. What if he was the prince that was promised, but for the other side?
Oh,
like for the great other.
You heard it here
not
first.
For R'hllor.
Direwolf City.
So the prince that was promised, but for the great other, not the R'hllor.
I love that to pieces.
Because figure like about like there's a lot of stuff about Stannis being cold and not giving off any heat, or like how his light bringer it's like the flame, but the flame's cold or something like that. I didn't bring up the exact quote that Maester Aemon kind of said when he's like, yeah, I'm not feeling any heat coming off of that. So what if that's kind of what happens at the Nightfort, is that sacrifice with Shireen is when like whatever type of like evil other force possesses Stannis and kind of like takes over him, and like maybe like kind of like body, like you said, almost like a body sense, like a warging type of thing. Like they warg into Stannis and Stannis becomes their like avatar on the other side.
I real quick, I would say that I agree with all of this because the way that the show that we don't like to speak of ended Stannis made me think that either A, they were bored of what was going on with him, or two, something's going on with him that they couldn't execute. And if he's going to be like a Night King figure, they had already like composited a character for that. Like they had already made it, so they couldn't like go back on it. So I feel like however his story was supposed to end, it couldn't be executed properly. So they just was like, okay, he dies, Brienne kills him. Next.
I absolutely adore. Well, I was kind of thinking there are parts of me that kind of sometimes wonder if the Great Other isn't actually very much connected to R'hllor, and then the other part of me was like, okay, in most pantheons, the gods are dicks. Like gods are dicks. What if like the Great Other and R'hllor are basically like twins or siblings of some sort, and they're both dicks and they both just war with each other, and men suffer in between, like it's go ahead. I thought you were for
me.
Yeah, we have, by the way, like 4 super chats.
Let me get to those real quick. So we have one from Count Balerion of House Tatters. Thank you, Count Balerion. Did Starks do human sacrifice? I have a bad feeling. Yes, they did.
Yes.
There's these legends about like entrails being hung from weirwood trees, but we see it in Bran's dream in A Dance with Dragons when he goes back in time at the Heart Tree at Winterfell, and we see that lady come out with the sickle and slice the captive's throat, and like the tree drinks the blood, Bran feels it in his mouth. So we see it then. Yes.
I also truly believe that the Night King was a Stark, and that's why they struck his name from, like, because it talked about when they found out that he was sacrificing children to the Great Other or whatever. That's when his name was struck from the record. So I think the only reason it would be that embarrassing to you is if it was a Stark.
I think in that dream, he's actually seeing the Night's King, because he says like something like he can see the face from the crypts, but he doesn't know the name.
Are you talking about Jon having that black armor dream?
No, Bran.
Yeah.
Okay. When Bran sees them sacrifice the guy, he's like, these are faces from the crypts, but like I can't put a name to it. And like, yeah, you can't put a name to it because they don't.
It's not there.
Speak his name anymore.
It's probably Brandon.
It's like a Westerosi Voldemort.
Yeah, I don't know.
Must not be named.
I don't know exactly like why they stopped sacrificing, but
well, I mean,
it's something they got from
probably the same reason people stopped doing a lot of the stuff they do in the real world, like drinking their own piss, and
they grew out of it.
Wearing certain makeup.
They got mature.
I was gonna say, I think when the Andals came in, they kind of like chilled that shit out.
Yeah,
because I think of it kind of like as like the Andals were like, we don't do human sacrifice.
They still do it on Skagos.
We have crystals and stuff.
Well, Skagos is like its own little. We have these crystals.
They do it. They do it, but they do it in like a much more subtle way. So instead of just like saying, okay, we're going to kill this person because we're just going to kill them, they like the old men just go out and kind of like sacrifice themselves.
Oh my gosh, that's true.
Yeah.
So they do it in a much more civilized fashion, but they're still doing it.
Yeah.
We're civilized.
I'm sure the wildlings still do it.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like the Thens. They
definitely do.
They're still fucking doing
Fucking
it.
pens.
Well, and child sacrifice is a common theme on both sides too. They're sacrificing children to the others. Melisandre wants to sacrifice children to her god. So there's
True.
child sacrifice on both sides. The bones inside trees, the small bones that they find in Blood Raven's cave. We don't know that all of those are children of the forest. They could be human children.
And we know like that wargs children were like found defective, and they would kind of just leave them in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They kind of just leave them in the snow. But what Heart Tree Village, that fucking weirwood is so creepy. Like it's filled with bones. The mouth of it is filled with bones. So we have a super chat from Reflective Rambling. Thank you for the super chat. Mani, it's my first time I see you live, 4 a.m. here. I love watching you, but the thing that makes me smile the most is when you raise your hand when you want to say something. Alicia's a teacher and she makes us do it.
Yeah.
She made the
Well,
rule.
it started okay. It started when we did that live stream with the usual suspects, and I'm like, yo, there are 7 of us, and I don't think that audibly the audience is going to enjoy it if we're constantly talking over each other. I think they would much rather have like an audible, like wonderful experience than like I mean, I don't think it's any sweat off anyone's nose for me. I think it's much more obnoxious to hear us rambling over each other rather than watching us raise our
you go. Yeah, you go.
I think it's a good system. Shut the fuck up.
No,
we have
it
another
is.
super
It
chat.
is.
Yeah, it's great. Love that for you. So we have another super chat from Reflective Rambling. Thank you. Phil H. Simeon Star Eyes visited the Nightfort, saw Hellhound, sapphires in place of missing eyes, blue eyes. What the Hellhound is going on here? First of all, how did Simeon Star Eyes see any fucking thing? He's blind.
Visions.
Okay, so that was like, I have a thought about Simeon Star Eyes and Aemond One Eye.
Ooh.
And Aemond One Eye did not put the sapphire in his eye at Harrenhal, but since we're doing, parallels between Harrenhal and...
Are we talking about a witch queen of Harrenhal?
Oh, no, I haven't refreshed myself well enough to really get into Alice Rivers, but we were making parallels between the two castles, but I do kind of wonder if Aemond might have something about him is supposed to be like a hint, or Simeon Star Eyes and Aemond in some way are supposed to kind of hint at each other back and forth.
I know what makes sense with that. The Hellhounds. The Hellhounds people believe are 2 Starks. The Night King and the Stark that stopped the fight. So Aemon was also Aemon with his sapphire eye was also in the midst of his brother and sister fighting a war.
Except he didn't stop shit. He encouraged it.
Yeah, he didn't stop anything. But who's to know Simeon Star Eye stop shit?
He
might be a fucking White Walker his damn self. Yes. Maybe.
We also have a opposite parallel with sapphires and rubies.
Sapphires.
The sapphires that Simeon has in his eyes, and the ruby that Melisandre and the Red Priest use for their magics. So the sapphires could have been something that would allow them to maybe not see with their eyes, but see in other ways, like how Melisandre can see into flames, or she uses it for her glamours. They're part of her magic. And so the sapphires could have been part of the magics too.
So Brienne of Tarth confirmed to be descended from the others. You heard it here first.
So a theory that I had.
Sir Duncan the Tall fucked a white, yes.
Ooh,
and his seed and his soul.
And it's Undead 1-1. 1-1 is Sir Duncan's kid.
Confirmed.
It's Sir Duncan and Old Man. So one of the theories that I had about Simeon Star Eyes is they call Simeon Star Eyes a knight, and they call the Knight of the Mirror Shield a knight, like all these different knight stories. But there weren't any knights until the Andals came much later. Because the knights were crowned in the 7th, baptized in the 7th, whatever, holy water, whatever. But what if the original knights that are in these old stories are actually Night's Watch? Because they call this guy Night's King. But why call him Night's King when there were no knights then?
It's spelled Night, not Knight.
I know, but why?
Why call it the Night's Watch when there were no knights? Because they're two different words.
No, because it was the long night. And so I think I know what she's getting at. So like it wasn't it's the difference between the Night King and the Night's King. Everybody goes back and forth with, are they the same person or are they a different person? So the Night King there would be no reason to add the apostrophe S if it wasn't from the Night's Watch.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I was like, for a second there, I thought she was actually like,
that
she thought she
trying to
did
talk
something.
to me like she was a toddler, like I'm a toddler in her class.
That's spelled with a K,
First of all,
actually.
Because it's two different fucking words.
Well, no, I thought you were like going on a completely different thought, and I'm like, I love her, but how do I politely tell her she thought she did something there?
Well, let me tell you, we have a super chat moving along from Tenuvio Greenleaf. Do you guys truly believe there's a Night's King Great Other? If so, will it be like season 8, The Long Night? Nothing will be like season 8, The Long Night.
I think it's like a democracy. They decide together.
Girl, she thinks she did something.
I think it's
democracy.
I think it's like a hive mind. Like it's
like the Borg.
Mind thing.
But the Borg have a leader.
I think there's a leader.
Yeah,
I think the Great Other is, like Melisandre talks about the Great Other. She sees the Great Other as Bloodraven.
I honestly think the Great Other is like just like whatever the opposite of R'hllor would be.
Yeah. I think basically what's happening is there's one power source and people are harnessing it for different reasons and saying, oh, religion. But it's just
we'll go back into that more in the second episode.
there's one power source, and I feel like there is though a Great Other because there is something that there's something that is collectively making these people work together, like these White Walkers. There isn't, like, they aren't just doing this just because they're robots that were like made to do this. There was, okay, so me and Quinn have talked about this in our Long Night episode on Obsidian Nights about with Old Nan, and we talked about different factions of the Children of the Forest. Like, we speak of the Children of the Forest, and the Children of the Forest were not all one group collectively. They were different factions, likely different tribes. I feel the same thing. She's taking our picture. I can't concentrate. It's like, no, I feel the same thing about the others. Like, there's likely at one point different tribes of the others, and they came together under one person, and that person was like the Great Other, the leader.
Wow.
And I feel like it was the 13th Lord Commander at one point.
Oh, I do like that idea.
Kind of like the 13th Lord Commander got body snatched.
I'm definitely liking this body snatch possession thingy. Like they're getting
It
warmed
tracks
into.
with
Like it's like they're
warping,
getting skin changed into.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
kind of
when
like
you see, especially when you see like Bran.
I just thought of it like, so you know how like in Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, like how Inaluki is kind of like almost like in this like metaphysical realm, but he needs like a corporeal form. Or like for those of you guys familiar with Harry Potter, before like Voldemort gets his body, he's kind of like
he's on the back of Quill's head.
Yeah,
Quill's
he's like
head.
not really like he's like not really like physically human, but he's like in this weird in between life state. That's why I think the Great Other is in right now, where it's like this like hive mind thing, like this thing, and it needs like an avatar, and I think it's gonna be
I
It's
think
gonna be
you are
Stannis.
100% right.
I think
Because
it's gonna warg into Stannis and be like, "You're the perfect candidate. You already got some troops. Look at that."
I think
Yeah.
first he has to do something to open himself up to
The
possession on
sacrifice to
accident.
Shireen, I think, is gonna be because nothing's more cursed than the Kinslayer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and if you think about it,
well, damn, he already
there's a
killed
certain
Renly.
number of yeah.
Hmm?
There's a certain number of
He already killed
of
Renly,
words.
so he's fucked.
But he wasn't
No,
close
there-
enough. I'm sorry, Mandy.
No, you're fine. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, there's a certain number of wargs in the population, like in general. It's like 1 out of every 1,000, and then 1 out of every 100, and something like that. So once a warg dies, they have a chance at a second life. So they maintain that ability with their soul or their spirit or whatever it is after their body is dead. So if something is keeping the whites animated, who's to say that they don't maintain that latent ability in white form, and that they could still possibly be able to warg or skin change?
I think that's what they're doing. They're warging the whites.
I kind of wonder if one thing that the show did kind of touch down on, albeit sloppily, is the idea that when you kill a White Walker a certain amount, like maybe they
High
might
blood.
have, yeah,
High blood.
like kind of like the originals, Vampire
Mhm.
Diaries. If you kill an original, all the vampires from their bloodline die.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like this. However, we don't really see, like, how many times do we see a White Walker get smoked in the books other than Sam?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, you don't really
Mhm.
see any whites fall along with him, but I don't know if whites were along for the ride by the time the other found Sam and Gilly. Like, I remember there was like Small Paul, but I think he was already disposed of before the White
Yeah.
Walker came.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Which, speaking of horror, that was like, honestly, I can think of 2 moments
gosh,
in
when
Song
he's,
of
like,
Ice and
trying
Fire
to-
proper. Yeah, I can think of 2 moments in A Song of Ice and Fire proper that terrified the absolute fuck out of me. And probably because of like what time of day I was reading it. One of the first times I read through the books, I was working night shifts. And one of them is Dany in the House of the Undying, that thing that's like slithering on the ground and following her. Terrified the
Mhm.
shit out of me. The other one was when Small Paul appears in the doorway of that little log cabin in that Sam chapter. Yeah.
I was gonna say
Creepy
mine
as
would be
fuck.
that Small Paul thing. Mine are all related, I noticed, to like others in possession. The Small Paul thing,
Mhm.
the thistle, that shit freaked me
Mm.
out. Like, really freaked me out. Like, I don't know, that whole other life possession thing, like, that shit's really, really creepy.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're gonna get a lot of that, especially with the Nightfort. I feel like they're coming back to it.
Speaking of thistle, so what Vaemir Six Skins is able to do is he's able to work multiple animals at one time, and
I hate him.
you have to you have to be pretty gifted to be able to do that. Like, you have to be
Mhm.
like really skilled to be able to do that. But with a corpse, like, you have no resistance. So what I feel like the White Walkers or the others are
Mhm.
doing is they're warging multiple corpses at one time, and that's why when they die, the corpses die, because I do feel like that is going to be a thing in the books. And I feel like that because we get that thing where Melisandre's on the wall and Oral's eagle, Vaemir is like flying around inside Oral's eagle, and Melisandre basically scorches him the fuck out of there, and for a minute he loses control over his animals. Like, well, not for a minute, he does lose control, and he like fucking goes insane for a minute. Alicia?
The only wrench in those gears for me is I feel like taking out an other in order to take out whatever whites that they're warging is too easy.
Mm-hmm. Well,
It's
the thing is that
too
only
easy.
she knows how to do that shit. Like, only she knows how to do it. Oh, you mean?
No, I mean, like, when it comes down to the final battle,
But
like, I just thought about it, and I feel like that's just too easy if taking out a certain other takes out a certain amount of whites.
I'll say the
Like, I
reason
feel like
that it's not easy is because the others are nothing like they are on the show. Like, the others are almost impossible to see because they have that reflective armor. Like,
Mhm.
Tormund tells Jon, like, how do you fight cold? How do you fight the mist, Jon Snow? Like, he's telling him, like, you can't even breathe when they're around you. They're so cold. So I feel like getting close to them is really hard. Sam just got, like, really lucky.
Really lucky.
Well, he was up close and personal
And
because one of them
figure-
like directly came to him, thinking of him as not a threat. It didn't bring a bunch of wargs, and because it wanted to take the baby. So Sam was kind of like up close.
Yeah.
I just figured it's more experience, so it'd be harder.
Sandy?
I just had a thought about, since we're on the whites and we were on Stannis earlier, what if he's the one that lets him through the gate the Nightfort?
Oh, because it only takes one person to open up that gate.
But
Well,
he has
here's
to,
my problem with it. Only a person with the Night's Watch can open.
I know,
that
Yeah.
gate.
but he's going to have members of the Night's Watch there who are
Mhm.
restoring the castle. And if he asks them to open so that he can send someone through, and we know that the whites are able, or the White Walkers are able to communicate with the humans in some way because they're talking to Craster and getting all his kids. So if he's able to strike a deal with them,
he's
What do you
determined to
think?
get that fucking.
Do you
He's determined
think-
to get that throne.
I was gonna say, do you think like so I think if I'm not mistaken, their language is called like Scrod or Scraw, something like that. Scroth.
Scruff.
So do you think
Scroff.
it maybe probably shares some type of commonalities with the old tongue? Because I feel like they probably are very similar. So you know how like Leathers is one of very few people that can communicate with one because one speaks the old tongue.
Mm-hmm.
What if the old tongue is very similar to that language? Kind of like how like for example, like Spanish and Portuguese. If you understand Spanish, you have a very easy time picking up Portuguese and vice versa because the languages are all rooted in Latin.
I'm going to contest that just a little bit. So
Only reason why
I'm
I grew up the community I grew up in it's like a language derivative of Portuguese. Majority of that population can also understand Spanish just because the root commonality is Latin.
Right. But because I lived in Brazil, I learned Portuguese. Something I found is that I can understand quite a bit of Spanish because the way it's written down, it looks the same. Like in my English mind, the pronunciations that I grew up with, and like most Brazilians are like this too. But it's really hard for people who speak Spanish to understand Portuguese just because it can be the exact same word, two completely different pronunciations. Like the word for day is same in Spanish and Portuguese, but in Portuguese, instead of being pronounced,
it's a G rather than a D.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's just getting into semantics, like literal
Okay.
semantics. But like moving past that, the similarities are there where there's the understanding. And the point I was getting to is I think how they're communicating with humans is humans that can understand the old tongue can pick up that scruffy language. Therefore, where they have a lot of wildlings in the area at the wall, Stannis can kind of use them as like a bargaining tool with the others.
I agree because
Or not bargaining tool, but like a interpreter, I guess is the word I would like to use.
I agree with that because I believe the old tongue is the same tongue that the children of the forest speak. And they say like it sounds like nature sounds, like the rocks, the water, the crickling grass. And the scroth sounds like what it is, cracking ice. Like it's still something natural that I would think would be the same, kind of the same language. It's just the vehicle that's carrying it happens to be ice, so it's going to come across as screeching ice instead of like where if Leaf was to talk, it'd probably come across as like leafy. I don't know.
A bubbling brook.
Rocks flowing in a stream. Yeah. Real quick, let me answer the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Akeem Wade. Just watched the Riverlands episode. Jamie is one of my favorite characters. I don't believe he dies in the cave. I believe he does a hostage exchange for her brother and the Northman for Bree and Pod. Your thoughts? I don't think she's gonna let him negotiate anything. Hopefully, Brienne just doesn't like. Hopefully, Brienne just gets over herself.
Well, Edmure technically isn't really in Jamie's custody anymore. Like he
Yeah.
is, but he's not. He's not.
Not physical custody.
Yeah.
I don't think she
Keep
trusts
them off.
Jamie because I mean, last time she trusted him to do something like, "Hey, go bring my daughters back." That didn't
Mhm.
happen. So
In her mind, Jamie helped orchestrate the red wedding, which was the
yeah.
ultimate deception. So she's
Yeah.
not. She's not going for that.
Do you guys think Cold Hands? Do you think like because Cold Hands couldn't go through the gate, do you think like Stannis would be able to let an other through the gate?
That's a thought that I had. That is a thought I had, and then I got really like actually about Spanish and Portuguese, and that's where my mind went. But I think that the Black Gate, it's something, and I never thought about it until today. Like something about the Black Gate is so off as far as like what we're
Creepy.
used to in the magic
Mhm.
of Westeros. Like it feels like it doesn't fit because it's like this sentient, not sentient, this being.
Should we like
talking back
briefly
to you.
should we briefly describe what the Black Gate is for those that
Yes.
are listening that have no idea?
Absolutely.
Somebody that's not me.
Okay, fine. Let me pull it up. A Song of Ice and Fire. Oh,
The thing about you describe it and then I'll do because I have a Lord of the Rings comparison.
yeah. Okay.
I say while you're
That sounded condescending. Yeah.
I guess
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess while you're I can briefly describe it. I should have just went for it, huh? I'm like not confident, but
You're
yeah.
like,
So
will someone pull it up? That's not me. Thank you.
well, anyways, this is from like, please correct me if I'm wrong here, guys. Sorry, I should have been a little more prepared. So in the Nightfort, in the bottom of a well, there is a old gate made of weirwood. It is all white, and if I'm not mistaken, it does not have a face at first. And then you have to speak it like, well, sorry. You walk up, there's no face, and then all of a sudden, like eyes open up, and then it's like, who are you? And then you have to say a part of the Night's Watch vows to get through the gate. And we see it when Sam uses it to get back south from the wall, and then again when Bran is going north of the wall. It actually happens all at the same time. That's like a simultaneous swap. But yeah.
Yes.
It says the magical Black Gate is a hidden subterranean gate that allows passage to the other side of the wall and is as old as the wall itself. It is set deep in a wall of the well at the center of the kitchens and is made of white weirwood with a face on it. The face is old, pale, shrunken, and wrinkled with white eyes. The door glows. When someone approaches the Black Gate, the eyes open. They are white and blind, and then the door asks, "Who are you?" A man of the Night's Watch must repeat a part of his vow. "I am the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns, blah, 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 blah." The door will open then, saying, "Then pass." The door's lips open wider and wider until, sorry, I'm sick-minded, until nothing remains but a great gaping mouth. And
It dilated.
Sorry. But a great gaping mouth and a ring of wrinkles. It's his blowjob mouth. Okay.
She said
Okay.
it dilated. Okay, first of all, I'm going to call bullshit on one thing in that description is that it's as old as the wall itself. How the
I
fuck
was
did the
think-
corpse bride pass through it then?
Oh, maybe they built that gate after. I
That
kind of
came
get the feeling though.
after.
Maybe it's not. Maybe.
I kind of get the feeling they built the Nightfort around that gate.
I do too.
Because
But I
it's at
think
the
they built the
bottom.
wall around that gate.
But really?
Yeah, I could see it because that'd be like a really like the original gate to go back and forth between the wall. Because figure all the other castles and their like entrances and exits were built afterwards.
Yeah.
So that kind of being like, and you have to be a brother of the Night's Watch to actually
See,
open.
the histories are so fucky.
They are.
Because
It's so
then
hard
we
to
come
track.
back to the chicken and the egg situation of like, so the 13th Lord Commander, right?
Yeah.
13th is what we're told, is the Night's King. So how were there already whites on the other side of the wall?
Because I think he was an avatar that was snatched up by that there are things that absolutely contradict themselves. Like it says something about how
the timelines are so wrong.
how the Nightfort was there when the War King warred with the Children of the Forest or some crap like that. And I'm like, I'm rather certain by that point the Children of the Forest and the First Men were allied with each other. So that doesn't make sense to me, unless there were still like factions of the Children of the Forest that were like, hey, we still have beef. I do, because none of that made sense to me either. But after talking and theorizing tonight and doing that thing we do, I kind of do believe that the 13th Lord Commander was merely avatared. Body snatched. Yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to talk about the Black Gate is in Lord of the Rings, in Mordor, there is a Black Gate that...
To Moria.
Yeah. What's his name? Sauron, whatever the hell.
Sauron.
Big bad.
Oh, so not Moria. You're talking about the Black Gate in Mordor.
Yeah. That
I thought you were talking about the door into Moria where it's like you have to answer the riddle, but you answer it by speaking. Right.
Yeah, well, he probably composited that with this because this is like it's the Black Gate, and it says it was built by Sauron, the Dark Lord of Mordor in the Second Age, to protect and guard the northern entrance into Mordor. So I feel like he got that from the Lord of the Rings. Like we know he got a lot of... We know Sam, Pip, Grant, Lord of the Rings.
Can you say Sauron again? I like your version better.
Sauron.
I like Sauron. I like it.
The big bad. The big bad.
Technically, the big bad is what's that one?
The wizard.
Melkor. He's the only fictional character that I'll call Zaddy, but we won't go there. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I feel like we could say that Black Gate started as something that wasn't good, maybe. And then the children use that to build off of. Use that. Because, like, that tree is super creepy.
Yeah.
And there's something... Yes.
So you know how the tree... Sorry. The tree obviously goes into, like, the big-ass Nightfort. But if I'm not mistaken, the face for the Black Gate is part of the tree, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that is built into the wall, right?
Yeah.
We know there's magic imbued into the wall. What if the center for like where most of the magic is coming from that weirwood tree in the middle?
The heart.
So the heart of the wall
is the heart tree.
Exactly. So if Stannis to defile that tree, that could help crack some of the magic in the wall.
Break the magic in the wall.
And that can allow them to come through. Because they're going to come through somehow. We know they have to get through. How the hell did they get through?
What if fucking dumbass Celise tries to burn it?
She would burn it because figure they want to get John to burn like the heart trees. And then he's like, hell no, I'm not doing that.
Yo.
And see, I got onto this train of thought. I got onto this train of thought by thinking about that horn that they had that Mel burned. We never actually saw it burn. Like it says that she threw it on the fire, but it never says like it burned to ashes or nothing was left but ash. Like we don't know that it was actually destroyed. And I was thinking, what if that's actually the horn? And Sam's got some other fucking random ass horn. Like, because there's multiple horns floating around right now. But what if Jormung's horn is the one that Stannis had the whole time? And so it's already there. And it doesn't burn. Someone brings it along.
I mean,
Get that
But
little
then I was
toot
thinking
toot.
that fucking door, what if he actually just lets them through? Like he strikes a deal and says, hey, these Northerners won't fucking do anything, so maybe you guys will.
I will say, when John blows that horn that he has at the fist, they come and attack that fucking fist.
Mhm.
So I think that's the
Yeah.
real horn.
Mm.
Because
Like
he
summoned them
blows
there.
it and he's like, oh, there's no sound. It's broken. Yeah, bitch, you might not be able to hear that sound. It like a dog
Right.
whistle.
It's
You
like
know,
a dog whistle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you think that they can blow through it, or do they need a avatar to blow
They
through
probably
it?
need an avatar.
We need an
Oh, what if it's
avatar.
like so you know like Dragon Binder, the purpose of Dragon Binder is to bind dragons to like the person that blows it. What if that horn is to kind of bind like some of the whites and White Walkers to whoever blows it?
That'd
Because
be
figure
John.
summon them there. Yeah. Oh shit. Ooh.
Sorry, I'm
That
watching
fucking dream where he's on the wall is got a lot interesting just then. Yes.
Can we address our friends in the chat here? Because per usual, Uncle Edric has them talking about whether or not the Black Gate moans when you walk.
He's
through
such
it.
a horny guy. You're so horny, Edric. Jesus.
I'm so here for it though. And they're like, oh yeah, it definitely moans.
It makes a gag noise. Jesus, Edric.
He's awful. No sent us a super chat. Maybe
Thank
the
you.
wall belonged to the free folk. The others equal a trick to fool the South in letting the free folk through and retake the wall. Val equals corpse bride.
Oh, you
If it
said the
means
wrong
Val's gonna
word.
fucking die and we don't have to listen to her anymore, then I would be more than happy for her to be the corpse
You know what?
bride.
If
That's what I said,
anyone,
you
if
said the
this
wrong
is
word.
anyone's
It was
first
Val.
episode, Mandy completely hates Val
Yeah.
with passion.
She's so
I
fucking
don't-
obnoxious. And someone was like, but she went and found Tormund. Woo! So happy
Okay,
for her.
I can understand why you're annoyed that other people love her, but you hate her?
So much.
Wow,
I like
that's
Val.
okay. Well,
I get why she hates her because she feels like she's
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 so pointless.
pointless.
Who cares?
I don't think she's pointless.
Hey, that's
but-
not Val's fault. Okay, don't take it out on Val. Just
Everyone's just like groveling at her feet because she's pretty. Who cares? Who fucking cares? She has not like proven her worth at any point.
I'm
I
just so
think it
serious
also
at
has to
this
do with the
point.
fact
Fawn at her feet because she's
mean,
pretty.
they're kind
No,
of
no,
like,
no,
almost in like
agrees
a
with you.
glorified penal colony.
you. No,
So I
no,
think
no, I
any
love
bit
you.
of attractive
People in the
girl is
chat are
gonna-
agreeing with you. Jason says Val is so interesting. No says Val wants to kill Shireen. She's a monster. Christina
Thank you,
said I
love
don't
you.
like Val either.
Thank you. Love you.
Yeah, I really think a lot of it has to do
Fuck
with
that
Val
bitch.
being the only pretty girl at the wall, and they don't see women often.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
And she
I don't think
described like they say that she's got like the hair the color of honey or something. So she's got like super fair hair, and we don't see that very often beyond the wall. And so she's just like she's white bitch exotic.
Fair.
I
Wow.
don't know. I
They have like
Val.
gingers and brunettes, and they're like, oh my god, a blonde. She's so exotic.
Here's what I love about never mind. Probably not the best time for it, but there's just a lot I love about Mandy, and she just touched down on one of those things.
So no. I don't think that the wall like belonged to wildlings and like the others were a trick. I think that all of the people that are in the north were wildlings. They're all first men, and they just happened to be on the wrong side of the wall when it went up.
Yeah.
I think they chose their ancestors chose to stay there. They're like, well, I mean, this is our land, or maybe like as a wall, like a line of defense. Like, all right, so we'll do our part to keep them from your half, and they get past us, then it's you guys, and after that, we're fucked if they get that far. So
I'll let it go when she's dead, Trey Mac.
The Happy Masquerader, thank you for the super chat. Pretty positive John will hook up with Val when he's exiled beyond the wall at the end of the series. I think you'll hook up with Val as well.
I think he'll hook up with her as soon as he wakes up.
Probably.
I think
John's
she
a dumb
could be,
hoe.
I think if John winds up the Night's King figure, I feel like she could be his Night's Queen. A lot of people say Dany. Dany's not being no damn Night's Queen.
No.
In no universe. I can't
actually
see it.
I came up with a scenario in my head in which Dany could survive
She gonna be
and
dead?
Bran could be king. No, that she could survive and Bran could be king. Because all she really wants is that house with the red door.
Mm-hmm.
And if she sees that like nothing is going right and nothing is working out and her army is lost, maybe she would. Maybe she would just say, this is not worth it. And Jon would convince her if Jon is the one that she ends up, wanting to be with or whatever. Maybe they just leave because he's going to be exiled anyways for all the shit that he's done. The Night's Watch isn't going to exist anymore. So his watch has ended anyhow. So maybe they leave.
Yeah, they're gonna look at him pretty bad.
Fine, Bran, go for it. Have fun.
Yeah, John's been kind of fucking up a lot.
Maybe she'll finally get her house with the red door and just be happy.
So
she's gonna die.
So we talked about the Night's King.
I'm trying here.
We talked about the Night's King. We talked about the Rat Cook. So we talked about Simeon Star Eyes, but I also wanted to talk about Danny Flint.
Oh yes.
So here, I'll read this quote. And this is Bran talking about the Nightfort. The Nightfort had figured in some of Old Nan's scariest stories. It was here Night's King had reigned before his name was wiped from the memory of man. This was where the Rat Cook had served the Andal King his prince and bacon pie, where the 79 Centennials stood their watch, where brave young Danny Flint had been raped and murdered. This was the castle where King Sherrod had called down his curse on the Andals of old, where the Prentice boys had faced that thing that came in the night, where blind Simeon Star Eyes had seen hellhounds fighting. Mad Axe had once walked these yards and climbed these towers, butchering his brothers in the dark. All that had happened hundreds and thousands of years ago, to be sure, and some maybe never happened at all. Maester Llewyn always said that Old Nan's story shouldn't be swallowed whole. But once his uncle came to see father, and Bran asked about the Nightfort, Benjen Stark never said the tales were true, but he never said they weren't. He only shrugged and said, "We left the Nightfort 200 years ago," as if that was an answer. Yeah, Alicia?
Could we very quickly catch up on super chats, because we did have someone comment, Obi-Wan Carlos. He commented that he feels like we ignored and skipped over his super chat.
Where was it?
It says maybe the Night's King was not the 13th Lord Commander, but the original last hero instead, because he had 12 companions, so he was the 13th question mark. That's a really good one, actually.
Yeah, I didn't even see it.
I didn't see that.
It's
I see it here. Oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take it?
I do love, so I see a lot of the number 13 going on here involving Night's Watch. Just the Night's Watch. It's literally just these.
I have 13s. I have 13s everywhere.
Mandy,
I'm doing a whole number. I'm doing a whole number
years,
thing.
13
I
years
have
he reigned.
7s, 9s, and 13s, which is weird because they're all odd numbers. And I have, I'm compiling lists of them throughout the entire. Here, let me get my list of 13s. You keep going. I'll cut in when I'm ready.
So, I have a lot of theories when it comes to who the original last hero was. I don't think it was the Night's King. I think the original last hero was the first Bloodraven character. But I do see how that could work, because he did. Well, I won't say that he did have 12 companions, but in the show, when they do that scene in the show where he changed, the Night King changes the baby, there's 12 people with him, and he in the front. Yes, Mandy.
Okay, are we ready? It's a long list. And some of them is just important things that happen at someone's age. So those are just kind of thrown in there too. But Dany is 13 when the story starts. There is the 13 of Karth. Zarozo and Doxos has 13 ships. The 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch ruled for 13 years with his corpse bride. There's 13 small groupings in the Iron Islands. The theory that 13 children of Alysanne and Jaehaerys were the 13th being Gale, the Winter Child. The 13 carved into the weirwood at Harrenhal, presumably by the rogue Prince Daemon. This one's kind of weird. There were 17 Targaryen rulers from Aegon I to Aerys II. Jaehaerys, the fourth ruler, changed the watch permanently by closing the Nightfort. This one is pertinent. And the Black Gate. So the fourth ruler, right, Jaehaerys. So after him, there were 13 kings. From 4 to 17, there were 13 Targaryen rulers after the Nightfort was closed. Bloodraven becomes Hand during the reign of the 13th Targaryen ruler. Bloodraven serves as Maekar's Hand for 13 years. Bloodraven was Lord Commander for 13 years. Jon dies in his 13th chapter of Dance. Joffrey becomes king at the age of 13 and dies after the 13th dish is served at the wedding. And 13 is associated throughout the entire thing with treachery and betrayal.
I love you so much.
Really quickly, because I'm about to think I did something really quickly.
I'm sorry. Oh my God. I'm just fucking with you.
I'm just fucking with you. Really quickly, like in Norse mythology, the number 13, like Loki, is the 13th god.
Yes.
And Loki has a lot of parallels with Bloodraven. Like in Dunk and Egg, they talk about Bloodraven being able to transform into the mist, and that's a thing that they say about Loki in Norse myth. And like Loki is a shapeshifter, he has wolves and all this stuff. So I wonder if the original Green Seer, which would be the last hero, was the 13th Lord Commander. Because let's say he was sacrificing, they say he was sacrificing. Maybe he was just eating Jojen weirwood paste. Maybe that's like, because we see Bran needs blood. Like Bran needs blood. So the Night's King could have been like that same kind of thing. And I'm only getting that from all those 13s and Loki being the 13th god in Norse myth. But that's all I had to say. Sorry.
No, I like it because it's a problem. And like you said, the shapeshifters and that's shapeshifting to me is like this universe's warging.
Yeah.
Shapeshifting. So I totally go for that. And just the general chaos that surrounds everything to do with the number 13 is like, it all fits. I'm with you. You did things. Don't worry.
Yeah. And it's considered, I saw someone in the chat say, Count Balerians. I seem to vaguely recall 13 was a lucky number in Italy. In Norse myth, it's an unlucky number. And we have a super chat from Jerome the Great. Thank you for the super chat. And we have another super chat from Citizen Zero. Chapter you've reread the most and why? Mine is A Feast for Crows, when Arya Stark is trying to throw Needle away and she can't. Like she's trying to get rid of all of her Arya stuff. And she can't do it. And why? Because I just love how she's thinking of Winterfell. I don't know. It's just like, that's what I put on when I want to go to sleep, that chapter.
Mine would be A Ghost in Winterfell. Dance of the Dragons.
Good one.
Or Dance with Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking. Sorry, that's my thinking face.
Mine's Varamir Sixskins because I dissociate and I have no idea what the fuck is going on, so I have to reread it because it grosses me out and I hate it.
Yeah, it's such a disgusting chapter. It's easy to be like,
and it's so important though. So there's so much information crammed into this disgusting fucking chapter.
Yeah.
And I'm trying so hard to keep my skin from crawling while he's trying to like jump into this woman consciousness, and she's bites off her own fucking tongue to keep him out. Like it's like a visceral reaction that I get.
You can tell he smells like cat
block
piss.
it out.
He does.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
He does. But I find myself blocking it out and I have to reread it to realize what's going on.
This is gonna sound so corny, but mine is actually the prologue of A Game of Thrones.
It's
just
so
because
fucking
I
good.
feel like, one, it's so good. Dance with me then, like a line, a bar. But I guess the biggest thing for me is like I feel like the key to defeating the others is in that prologue chapter somewhere. It's something in that damn chapter that I feel like everybody's been overlooking. And in my heart of hearts, I want to be the little loser that uncovers it, but I don't think I am. But I just keep reading
You
it
will
and
be.
reading it
Manifest.
and reading it and
Manifest.
reading it because I was like, it's there. I know it's there. The key is in this chapter. I'm gonna figure it out. Just because I feel like, to me, like the beginning, like obviously we know Bran's first chapter is also like, I think the book is gonna end like Bran is gonna be the first and last POV we get, just because like, you know, symmetry and shit. But I always feel like a lot of books, like there's so much packed into the first initial introductory passage that it normally kind of gives away the end. So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I got
I think you're right.
Foreshadowing right there in front of
And
you.
I'm
the whole
manifesting
time.
for you to figure it out.
Manifestation.
Well, the thing is,
nasty.
I can't figure it out until somebody finishes. So then I'm like, see, I did figure it out. You know?
All right. Do you think the Nightfort will be in House of the Dragon? I'm not sure. I was wondering, like, will they factor the wall into House of the Dragon?
It
I
already
don't think
did.
so.
It already did. Talking about Alysanne going to the wall and how Silverwing was like having none of her wanting to fly beyond the wall.
Their girl, Alysanne
So she
is
gave them
dead.
jewels.
She's dead.
She's gonna be long dead before
Yeah.
like this comes out.
It was a long time
House
ago.
of the Dragon.
You're
I was
thinking about Fire and Blood.
Blood, yeah.
So
I don't
maybe,
know.
but maybe they can go back because I feel like they're not going to stop it just telling the dance.
Oh, they're
story.
going to. I mean, if they have the dagger in the trailer, like the Dragonbone hilt dagger in the trailer of House of the Dragon, they're going to do all sorts of connecting to, because they have a lot of other successor shows to get around to.
Yep.
They're gonna. It's all the same universe. They're gonna connect it. I think they're kind of trying to Marvel that shit.
They are.
Yeah,
I mean, look at
Westeros
said that.
cinematic universe.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at like Shang-Chi, the dude that played the Mandarin in the first Iron Man movie, he was there. You know, so they'll connect it all.
Yeah, I think they're gonna connect it all. I think they're gonna go.
Spoiler
back
alert for those who haven't seen Shang-Chi.
He's in the previews.
Travis Slattery's not in the previews.
Yes, he is. He's in promos because I saw him in promos, and I haven't even seen the movie. So there you go.
I think you saw just stills from the movie.
It was a Marvel promotion itself promoting the movie.
Oh, well, afterwards, probably, yeah.
Yeah,
it
after
doesn't
the movie
matter.
had already. It don't matter. We are rabbit trailing so hard.
Thank you
So I was
for
like, no,
the
it
super
doesn't
chat,
matter.
Jeromeo the Great.
Later.
We have a super chat from Michael David. Hey y'all, so happy I'm finally catching DC live. No questions here, just showing my love. Also, I agree with Mandy that Val is pointless. Yes, John is a damn hoe, and the horniness in the chat is making me laugh hard tonight.
You should stop
Thank
by
you,
more
Michael.
often,
Love
then.
you.
Silly horny boys. Silly horniness.
And women.
Boink.
So
Boink, not boink. Boink is
Whenever
something
somebody
else.
tries to boink me on Twitter, I'm always like, yes, harder.
So Danny Flint, right?
yeah, Danny Flint.
How about that, Danny Flint?
So I feel like Rat Cook and Danny Flint have already come to pass because Danny Flint is a girl that joins the Night's Watch and she disguises herself as a boy and then she gets raped, tortured, and killed. So we know that like Wyman requested 2 songs, The Rat Cook and Young Danny Flint. And Jean Poole is posing as Arya. Ramsay has raped her. And the only reason she's escaped death is because Theon helped her escape. But I feel like that is the Danny Flint part of the story. Yes, Alicia?
I'm going to put out a verbal trigger warning to add on top of that, probably for the next 15 seconds, mute it or dissociate. What's on top of that, Jane was forced to do sex work before being sent off as fake Arya. So it
Mhm.
really parallels Danny Flint, because
Yeah.
Danny Flint was raped by multiple people, not just so there's trigger warning.
Oh, and then speaking of Danny Flint, so Danny Flint dies, Avi, and she gets killed by the Brothers of the Night's Watch. Do you think if a certain Miss Faria, if you want to call her that, fake Aria, little Jane, makes her way up to the wall and we have Feral John, if Feral John's like, get this bitch out of here. And, you know,
I can see him being
he
like
doesn't like
really
Sansa.
jealous and not putting a whole lot of investment in her well-being after that.
I
Well,
could
I don't
see
think
him
he-
still being
Arya.
dead by the time she gets there, and the wall just being in chaos,
Mm.
and something very
Yeah.
bad happening to her.
The only reason why I disagree with that is I don't think they're gonna keep his body on ice that long. I think it's gonna be like maybe a couple, like it's gonna be like in the book, it's gonna seem like a lot of time has passed. I feel like we're not gonna get those chapters till maybe a little later that
I
John's
bet it'll
up.
be
But
3 days.
I think yeah, time wise, because it's like how long would they realistically keep his body on ice for?
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Like because he's gonna start decomposing and get gross. So I feel like you got to kind of do that a little like sooner than later.
I mean,
Well, the ice
if
cells will
he's
help.
in the cells, the ice cells in the middle of the wall, his body will conceivably keep for quite a while.
I
Oh,
bet
I mean,
he's
it'll
dead
keep
for
I
3
have this
days,
theory.
though.
Yeah, I mean, it'll keep for a
that all
while,
of the
but
Starks, that all of the Starks in the crypts of Winterfell, because it's so fucking cold down there, that they're mostly pretty well preserved.
I
I
can
would
see
And I
love
think
that.
that they could rise when the Night King, like it happened in the show. I called that shit like years before it ever happened, because I had this theory that the corpses were so well preserved in the crypts because it's freezing down there that the bodies would be frozen, and so that the same thing could apply to John.
That's why the
And,
swords
like,
are on their laps to
cells.
keep them from
Mhm.
rising.
To keep him from
Mm.
rising.
Yeah, like I think his body could
So that
keep for a
means
while,
Brandon
but I just-
Stark's gonna rise
Right.
because his sword's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the kings that their swords have long rusted.
Rusted, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
Oh,
brings
Gonna
up
be
a
a lot
really
of
good
them.
point about
Yeah.
Jane. Enemies of John might kill her.
honestly, the reason why I was like, I think she'll get there because one, even though his body could keep for a long time, realistically, how long are you really gonna keep it there before you attempt to try to bring him back to life? Like,
I bet 3
Like-
days.
yeah, like 3 days seems reasonable, but like figure it's gonna take her more than 3 days to get back to the wall in the middle of like a snowstorm.
Mm.
So either I think she dies along the way, or when she gets there, I feel like John's just gonna be on his revenge tour at this point. Like
Yeah.
kind of just like coming after everybody that like was involved in his death. But I think he's gonna see her and then be like, "This is what the? Did you try to impersonate my sister?" And maybe charge
Oh.
her with some type of random ass sick ass charge, like I don't know, like treason or something. I don't know. And a
That would
treason's kind
be-
of like, I don't know what he would do, but some type of like, I don't know, falsifying and like impersonation. I don't know what you could do, but he doesn't like Sansa like that. He damn sure doesn't like Jean because he's probably just like Sansa's little minion. So like, I really don't see him caring about her.
I don't think he carries any sort of like.
Not resentment, but like this is gonna be like Wolf John coming back, not having like many F's to give, and I feel like
I don't
he's
think
not
he'll be
gonna care.
cruel. I think his impulse control is not going to be there.
Okay.
Like, I don't think he'll be cruel at all. I think he just. I think he'll just not have as much inhibition.
Yeah.
Mm.
Go ahead, Mandy.
Okay, so we've talked about the Rat Cook and Danny Flint, and we have that king cursing the Andals,
Before
and we have Mad Axe, and Mad Axe is the one I want to talk about.
okay, and then I want to talk about the 79 Centennials.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
yes.
want to talk about them as well.
So, who do you think is going to be the Mad Axe? Who's going to go crazy and just fucking murder all of his brothers?
John.
Stannis.
Jon Snow.
I think John. Oh, what do you think? So while I was doing some homework for this, of so obviously in the chaos of the mutiny that happened against Jon Snow, if you will, what would you think of some of the people kind of maybe running off towards like the Nightfort for refuge? Because Bowen Marsh and Arthur Yarwick are homies. So
Or if
what
they
if
stopped at Snowgate on the way, and Snowgate and Nightfort went to war again like they did before.
Ooh. And it's like loyalists versus like the traitors, if you
Right.
will. Like people loyal
All
to
the traitors
Jon.
getting
The
axed.
loyalists and the unionists.
Yeah. I just honestly see Jon Snow going literally like he's just gonna lose his shit and just be out for blood.
Right.
Like anybody
So
involved
he's
is
gonna
gonna
come
get
back
killed.
and get revenge, like he
Yeah.
does in the show. Like I don't think he's gonna hang him though. I think he's gonna murder him.
No, because I
I
think
think
if he
I
were
think
to
he's
do
gonna
he's gonna have
feed
the
them. I think he's
composure.
gonna feed them to Ghost. He might
that,
kill them while he's still in Ghost.
I feel like he would
Right.
do like a Ned Starky type of either kill him while he's in Ghost or like doing the self essentially. Like he's from the north. If he's gonna execute these men, he's gonna be the one to do it one way, shape, or form. Hanging's not really the north way like that. So it's either he's gonna behead them or he's gonna attack them as Ghost. I could see that.
I can, not that I think it's going to happen, but I can totally see him too, just being like, hey, one-on-one me. And just like brutally, like giving them a fighting chance and knowing he's a better fighter than all of them, just absolutely mopping the fucking floor with them. And I think that would still be justice right there. But, yeah.
Could you see him could you see him cutting their heads off and like putting them on the wall like Theon Stark did to the Andals?
Yeah.
I think Jon's gonna be fucking savage.
I
like,
think so too.
The thing
like
about Danny,
werewolf blood.
Danny likes savage men like Drogo and Dario. Like she's not gonna want like there's something's gonna attract her to Jon, and I don't think it's gonna be his.
Honestly,
modesty.
I don't think he'll be
Pampered
so
lord.
out of control that it like. I honestly think he's going to be like an actual Stark before Ned Stark raised all of his children, because Brandon Stark is a loose cannon. You see all sorts of Starks in the history line that just
Kragan,
don't give
Theon.
a fuck.
I think he's gonna go from being like his daddy to being like his mommy, because Rhaegar was such an emo, moody prince bitch. And he's just like, I was gonna play my harp, and oh my god, woe was me.
I'm a
like,
bastard.
I'm Rhaegar. Like, and then John's like literally the same way. And then he's gonna like wake up and be like his mom and just like wanna kick ass and take names and be super fucking impulsive.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be like his aunt and his like uncle Brandon, like come back super like wolf's bloody, like
Yeah.
Count Balerion.
I definitely think
Vibes.
Brandon really, really embodied a lot of what the Starks really are.
yeah.
Once you take Ned out of the equation.
Ned's like the oddball. Like if you really look at it, like because Benjen doesn't seem as square as Ned either.
Right. Like not that
Ned's
I
like the
think
only
that Brandon
square.
would have fared well as Hand of the King, because Brandon went to the fucking
I meant
capital
Benjen.
and
I meant
immediately.
Benjen. I'm so
Well,
sorry.
Ned is
I'm gonna say
technically a middle
Benjen's not a
child.
square. Yeah, Benjen's not super squarish. Like Benjen looks like he's a good time.
Oh, you said Benjen. I just like continued the thought about Brandon.
Oh my bad.
Because my mind kind of went to this place. Sorry, ADHD moment. I had this like whole dialogue in my mind and thought. Anyway, because I was thinking about Ned Stark and how Ned Stark like did. Oh my god, I did have a whole conversation in my head and then thought that we had it out loud. I was thinking of shit. That's live. No shooting cream back up that udder. I was thinking about how Ned Stark was like such a fucking like he's kind of the idiot Stark. Like that's the thought I had in my head, but then I was like, no, because Brandon went to the Capitol and immediately got dead. So I was thinking like Brandon may embody a lot of the things that the Starks really are, but at the same time, one of the reasons they rarely ever go south, and even then they don't stay long, is because they hate all that Southern intrigue, So anyway, I dead ass had a whole conversation.
Cregan is the only one that made it back, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
And even then, he didn't stay long. He's like, I don't like this.
And he
he
went
fucked
down
shit
there
up for 2 weeks and left.
He went down there with like a purpose, like bitch. He went in there
like y'all didn't drag us out the house for nothing.
Yeah,
right. Like
we're here.
I'm here now.
We're here.
See that clip of Denzel Washington when he's like, I'm leaving here with something, and that was Kragan Stark. He's like, I'm leaving here with something. Like we didn't come here for nothing.
I
So
feel like Denzel Washington could totally be a Stark. This is, wow, off the rails again.
So I want to talk about the 79 Centennials. So I'm just going to read the quote. They said, "There are ghosts here," Bran said. Hodor had heard all the stories before, but Jojen might not have. Old ghosts from before the old king, even before Aegon the Dragon. 79 deserters who went south to be outlaws. One was Lord Ricewell's youngest son. So when they reached the Barrowlands, they sought shelter at his castle, but Lord Ricewell took them captive and returned them to the Nightfort. The Lord Commander had holes hewn into the top of the wall, and he put the deserters in them and sealed them up alive in the ice. They have spears and horns, and they all face north. The 79 Centennials, they're called. They left their post in life, so in death their watch goes on forever. Years later, when Lord Risewell was old and dying, he had himself carried to the Nightfort so he could take the black and stand beside his sons. He'd sent him back to the wall for honor's sake, but he loved him still, so he came to share his watch.
Can I say a quick funny?
Yes.
Barbary Dustin's originally a Risewell, right?
Yes.
Yep.
She's probably like, so my ancestors managed to get 79 traitors back to the wall, and you couldn't bring my one husband's bone back, Ned.
Yep. Petty Betty.
Okay, I'm done.
So Gray, know that I love you, and I say this out of love. Centennial is 100-year anniversary. These are Sentinels.
Whatever.
I was just gonna let you say it, and then you kept saying it. And I was like, okay. No, don't get mad.
I'm not.
Okay, there's Sentinels. You kept saying Centennial. It's okay. I had a whole conversation in my head like 5 minutes ago. It's okay.
Anyway, the 79 Centennials.
Sentinels.
What the fuck is a sentinel? A tree?
Honestly,
it's a guardian. It's a guard.
I was gonna say, if you watch X-Men, like if you watch the pilot episode of X-Men, the animated series, it's the big old robot things that come after Jubilee and the other X-Men.
Okay.
That's how I remember what a sentinel is. So,
yeah.
Do you think they could come back to life?
Yes.
Ooh.
They were.
I mean, we're raising the dead anyways. Why not?
But look, they technically weren't killed. They were frozen alive. And you know those like those scientists that like try to freeze bodies and then like reanimate them later.
Cryogenically frozen.
Yeah, cryogenically frozen.
Hear me out. What if the 79 Sentinels are just all a bunch of Bucky Barneses? Oh my god.
Bunch of super soldiers.
My sun and stars is here.
I'm right. There are centennial trees too. Thank you, Bridge.
Sentinel.
Whatever.
You were saying
it's part of my charm, Jason
he wrote
said.
Sentinel,
leave me alone.
Mispronunciated. Okay.
If the wall comes down, could they come back to life? And would they be fire whites or would they be?
I see them just wreaking havoc in like the Nightfort and like all of like Selyse and Stannis' people. So like, all right, building off this like big theory that we're spitballing, we're putting it together live for you guys. So by we, I mean I vaguely am. So Stannis does blood magic with Selyse. They fuck up the heart tree, which is the heart of the wall. Blah, 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 blah. That unleashes hell. And the Sentinels come out and they start fucking mad axing everybody and like going ape shit on everybody that's there.
Stannis wants to wake a dragon. Like he actively wants to wake a dragon. And like Maester Aemon is convinced that he's gonna do it. He's like men better than Stannis have done worse shit than what he's talking about. He's gonna do it. What if that ritual that he uses brings the Centennials? Because in the House of the Undying, I'm gonna say Centennials. I can't help it. In the House of the Undying, Dany sees a great winged beast taking off from a tower, breathing shadow fire. So that makes me think that it's not a dragon, because if it was a dragon, she would say a great winged dragon. Like, she knows what a dragon looks like. She's said a great winged beast. So I'm trying to think what it could be. Maybe it could be like these dead fucking things. These dead people, these centennials. I don't know how they would fly.
The winged beasts always make me think of the harpies.
The
Am I
harpies.
coming off the wall? Shoo. Oh yeah, like the harpies from like old geese.
Because it's like part this, part that, part this, part that, and they're like beasts. They're not
They got
like
wings.
any one particular thing, and they have these giant wings. So
Yeah,
it could be like a metaphorical, like the East coming.
Jesse J2G said sentient means alive, Nell means no. I feel like that's not. Is that true?
Sentient.
Okay.
Or sentient if you're feeling super bouge,
Ooh.
which is lazy for bougie.
Could the great winged beast be like have something to do with the Sphinx? The Sphinx at the Citadel? That great winged beast, like, I can't figure it out.
Somebody said a wing is like
Sphinxes
a gargoyle.
don't typically have wings.
No, they don't. They're just like what is it? A falcon head? What is a lion's body?
Human.
It's like,
I don't remember.
it's like three
But,
different animals.
John Haymaker in the chat said a winged beast like a gargoyle, and we do know that there are gargoyles on Dragonstone, which Stannis used to hold.
Ice dragon? Could we
I
get an
kind
ice
of
dragon?
have this little pet theory that George is looking for a way to incorporate his short story Ice Dragon into actual Song of Ice and Fire proper.
He is
Yeah.
very adamant that he created the ice dragon. He created it. So I can't see him not wanting to put it in a Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, I always thought, like, because the way the Ice Dragon ends, I always thought that was kind of like the setting up like Winterfell, like the black pool at Winterfell.
Like when the Ice Dragon melted, it was. I also we're really going off topic here, but I truly, utterly believe that the others are very much connected to Old Valyria in some way. Maybe
I do
they're
too.
enemies, polar opposites. If they're
they're described so similarly to the Valyrians that they have like this ethereal beauty, and you know it's. I always feel like there's something there too, and I think that eventually, hopefully, we're gonna find out what it is, because I don't think that we're just gonna be like, okay, great, they're dead. Now let's go fight with each other and argue over shit. Like it's gonna be like an actual thing that comes to fruition. But I hope that there is like a parallel between them and the Valyrians that's eventually fleshed out.
Yeah.
So I think we're done with the Nightfort. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about next week.
Ooh, let me find my.
I really, really, really want to do the Faith.
The Faith.
I was about to yawn, but I don't want to get a ghost stick in my mouth.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that tweet and I ignored it because y'all are insinuating that I just take
me.
a ghost stick in the mouth all the time.
That was me.
I'm going to throw this out there. I want to talk about the Great Council of 101. If you want to talk about the Great Council of 101, put a dragon.
And then for the Faith, what should we put for the Faith?
A star.
rainbow?
A bird or a star or something.
Oh, I was like, a rainbow for like the colors.
Oh, for the 7. Yeah, sure. Do a rainbow. That's perfect.
And it matches your
Do a
hair.
rainbow for me.
I'm so annoying. I'm like, in your hair.
The prisons and the Septon's hat. Put a rainbow.
Ooh.
All
right, Alicia, you go because I'm torn.
Sid said we have 300
I was
people
gonna
watching
do
and 40 likes. Like this video.
What? Slap that like button.
Like this video, or you're a traitor to the realm.
Oh, I see some ghost stick emojis going on in there.
Oh, Alicia,
It is
which
known.
one? Alicia, what are you?
Oh, I was gonna try to stick to the whole October theme, keep it a little, spine tingling.
Ooh.
And I'm going to again suggest talking on that theory that the Riverlands are like the wars occurring there are one big blood sacrifice a lot of the time, feeding this whole network of
Yeah, I kind of want
weird-
to take mine back and say that.
Oh wait, okay, that kind of ties into one of the options that I was thinking of. So maybe
So
we
we
can
should
roll this
just
all
do
into
it,
one.
We should.
Come on, guys, can we just
'Cause
do
I-
that?
So wait, hold on. The two options, like, well, one of them, I don't mind backseating if we're sticking with this theme, but the idea that I had was kind of like covering like places of the old gods. So that would include like High Heart, the Isle of
God's Eye.
Faces, God's
Hearttree
God's Eye, thank
Village.
you. Hearttree Village, going into the God's Woods, the Wolf's Wood, the Haunted Forest, like getting into all those like old gaudy sacrifice, the caves and stuff like that.
So we'll be talking about the Ghost of High Heart a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to do her voice.
Maybe.
Can we do the heart emoji for that? The red heart emoji?
Yeah.
What
Then
what
I'm
emoji
just-
do you want?
Me
People
or
are asking.
Ara?
Oh, so I was gonna make that kind of like
We're both
timing.
making that our thing.
So
Okay,
yeah, that's
but
your
what the
thing.
chat does is they hear like the first thing they like, and then they start voting and voting and voting and voting, and then they hear something else, and they're like, "Man, I changed my vote. I love y'all, but have we learned nothing? Have we learned nothing?" I say,
Oh,
I'm gonna go with Ara. I'm gonna say my suggestion is her suggestion. Then
yeah, no, that's what I was saying. That was gonna be like wrapping yours into one big bubble.
Red Heart.
But
Oh,
my
they
other
said I can't take it back.
so we have the
You're
faith,
such a
which is a
cheater.
rainbow.
They said it in the chat.
Yeah, no, I think we should keep it out there because it's been getting votes.
Look at all them red hearts, yeah.
Oh, and my other option was gonna be like the Maesters. They're rats, but I feel like it's not.
And if we
nobody
talk about
cares
the
them.
Maesters, if we talk about the
No.
Maesters though, we get to talk about like the maze makers and Lorath and like some Essos stuff.
Yeah, and the death of dragons and stuff like that.
And Summer Hall.
If we talk about the Maesters, then I'm just going to have to incidentally need to wash my hair that night. And
Girl, go to hell. So we have
don't
Michael
you put that
David.
evil on me.
Michael David has a super chat. Check out my comment in the chat because it was too long to add here.
He says, I think the bodies being preserved in the Winterfell crypts is accurate IRL. There's lots of examples of bodies being very well preserved for ages because of various underground gases. Since Winterfell is on the hot springs, it's very likely the Starks of old are very well preserved.
Yeah, that's like that mummy that they found, and I think it's the Andes Mountain. Somebody can please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like a 5,000-year-old mummy that like it still had skin on it. Like it was super freaky. But it was in like that super high mountainous altitude.
I don't mean to brag, but Bridge voted for me in Ara's option. Like, totally not trying to brag, but
you totally were trying to brag.
You really were.
What fuck that? So a heart if you want like the
old gods,
the Weirwood net thing, the Riverlands, Bloody Wars, feeding the Weirwoods, the heart of Westeros, the heart trees, the old gods. Heart. It's scary. And for me, just
a rainbow if you want the faith.
Rainbow if you want the faith of the seven. So we would talk about the High Sparrow,
Which is going to incorporate all the religions and how they all tie together and how they're basically controlling everything going on throughout Westeros.
Oh, so basically real world Earth.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Westerosi style.
So we have a super chat from Josh Gripe. Thank you for another great stream. Lots of very interesting, well thought out stuff and made me laugh and smile a lot. Shout out to the Discord fam. Also, Preposterous trailer is dope. Josh, you always come through. Thank you. And
Thank you, Josh.
yes, guys, the Preposterous trailer is dope. If you haven't seen it, it's on Instagram and it's on Twitter. So we together collectively are doing a unexplained mysteries, true crime, unsolved mysteries, weird stuff, creepy stuff podcast. And so we're covering these stories. They're like it's in it like an investigative podcast, trying to get to the bottom of what's really going on. But keep in mind, we are ourselves during this.
Yes.
So it's
So
kind
some
of like
laughs.
slash comedy. Slash comedy.
Like dark
And
humor
if you want to
comedy.
keep up with updates for the Preposterous podcast, you can follow the Preposterous Twitter and Instagram accounts. On Twitter, it is Preposterous AF. On Instagram, it is Preposterous_AF.
Yep. And that should be coming out on
Are we just gonna tell them?
No,
Yeah, we're gonna tell them.
Okay,
No,
okay. Fine.
we're not telling.
Are we taking my suggestion after all? Because earlier this week I was like, maybe that's too soon, and you guys were like, stop stalling.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
We'll let y'all
yeah,
know when it's going to come out
okay.
later. John Haymaker says, you guys keep changing the ballot. Can I mail in my vote? So we're not changing the ballots the same.
Y'all are voting.
Oh,
too
you
quickly.
forgot one. That's why the Great Council of 101 is a dragon. You didn't
Oh,
say
yeah.
you were running down the other
Oh.
one.
The Great Council of 101 is a dragon because you don't let me. Why don't y'all just put a voting poll on here? Oh, I can do that. I can do that after the video ends. So I'll also
think
add
that
a voting poll.
Why are we just now thinking of that?
Uncle
Because
Edric keeping us in line. That's pretty fucking dumb that we
didn't
just
think of that
thought
sooner.
Like we've been doing this for 6 months.
But that's the thing, though.
You're
That's the thing,
making
though. Not
maybe-
everybody who listens to us has Twitter, though.
Right.
No, you can do
Or are you
it on the
talking about
community
It's a-
tab
do it
on
right
YouTube.
top of the video.
Oh, I
Like
didn't
the
even know
poll
that
just
existed,
pop
so
up.
I can't be stupid if I didn't know it was there. So you guys can be dumb. Me, on the other hand,
Yeah, or we just we can start. How would you guys like if we start incorporating the polls within like the I guess community tab in on Twitter?
somebody
Make
can get her.
I'll say probably make it easier so Mandy doesn't have to go back and tally everything.
Yeah.
Oh, very true.
Okay, we'll
And y'all
We'll put a
can't cheat and
poll.
vote
We'll-
20 billion times.
We'll put a poll.
I'm also going to drop the Discord link in the chat right now. So anyone who's interested in joining the Discord for book club, tourneys, prizes, fun and games, awesome discussions, join us in the Discord. Highly recommended.
Yeah, so again, those votes will finally do a poll. Woohoo! It's a dragon for Great Council of 101, a rainbow for the faith of the seven and other faiths in Westeros, and then a red heart, which is the one you should vote for, which is
Yeah, you should.
essentially like the Riverlands, Werewood Net, all these great sacrificey creepy places, Alicia's high heart voice, like all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys
Maybe I'll even say bad pussy in my high hard voice. Really reel them in.
That's enough
Just
reason to vote right there.
All right, why should we even count now?
Got him.
awful. Anyway, guys, we will
Look at
see
all those
you-
hearts that popped up after I said that.
Okay, so what are the options one more time?
Jesus Christ.
Great Council 101 is a dragon. The faith in other religions in Westeros is a rainbow. And then the sacrificing to werewoods goes to High Heart, werewood trees.
Old God's creepiness.
Werewood not. Old God creepiness is a red heart.
All right.
Real quick, another super chat. Jerome the Great, thank you for the super chat. Put the poll on Patreon and FYI, J Romeo the Great. Oh, okay. So about my Patreon, I need to restructure that whole thing. But I'll put the poll on YouTube. You could just click on the eye if you're watching it back and vote. But I can't do it until after the video processes. But anyway, you guys have a good week. We will see you back next week, same time, same place, with whoever you guys pick. Anybody have any announcements?
Yeah, Wednesdays you can catch us on our American Horror Story after show. That's on Gray's channel this week. Next week on my channel. Also, you guys should subscribe to my channel because I'm so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. And would you look at that? If everybody here goes and subscribes, I will. So it's
Yay.
IED, bro.
I have a feeling everybody here's already subscribed. They better be.
You better.
Are
If
they
you're not,
better
you
be.
should.
You better be. You traitors. Psych. I'm just kidding. And another super chat from Huey Newton. Thank you guys. Count Valerian said tomorrow is book club in the Discord. So make sure you check that out. And you guys have a great week.
Oh wait, I was gonna.
Oh,
I
you have an announcement.
but
The one time I
know.
don't ask you, you have one. Go
Well,
ahead.
you need to stop not asking me.
You
because
never
those
had-
are the time.
Every time
Those are
I
the
ask
ti-
you.
Anyway, so on this Wednesday, while y'all are streaming, hold on, I need a second. It's a real announcement, I promise. I am going to be on Tony Teflon's channel. I'm going to be streaming with the usual suspects, for his What If series, and I think we're going to talk about what if some pivotal character doesn't die. I don't remember, but I'm excited to stream with.
Isn't it
them.
Robert Baratheon?
That one they did. I think it's what if Rhaegar didn't die.
Oh.
Maybe.
What If series is really good. If you guys haven't watched it,
Yeah, and that's Wednesday on Tony Teflon's channel. So that is, I believe, Teflon TV.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
Teflon TV, and I believe they do 7:30 Eastern.
I have no idea. I'll ask about it later.
I know it's. I mean, we do a Mirror and Horror Story after 11 o'clock, so I know it's before.
Okay,
all
that.
perfect. So no conflict of interest there. But yeah, I'll be
Yes.
there with my favorite boys.
Oh, and people in the chat are reminding me that tomorrow is trivia night in the Discord. So if you want to come in and play trivia and have a chance to win some prizes, join the Discord and we will get you set up for trivia.
Yes. And real quick, can you please let us know, Jason asked, can you please let us know when you do crossovers? So we have a couple of content creators that will be joining us in November. In November, we're going to do family and friends. So we're going to have friends on. Now, I know I talked about last week or the week before about us having guests on. So we're going to actually have a contest and we're going to have 6 of you guys on at one time. So it's going to be a whole panel, us 4, and then 6 of you guys from the chat. However many people StreamYard lets me allow, we'll probably do some kind of trivia contest or something. We want to make it a lottery. We want to make it fun. Yeah, but that's what we're going to do. And I love you guys. And you guys have a good week. Bye.
Bye. Check you guys
Thanks
out
for
later.
coming, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.